No one ever does anything with undercrofts. They're really hard legislatively to get hold of, and planning this is really difficult and everything, so it seemed like an important space to try and, you know, do a pilot project in, because there's loads of empty ones around the country, and no one, you know,
no one really tried
everywhere
to.
has undercrofts, and it's like, how can you like mediate the impact of a really massive, invasive infrastructural improvement like a motorway to make it something that's like valuable locally rather than just an imposition and a violence. Like I was saying, our last project was we converted the petrol station. That was the first big project we did together. It's this derelict petrol station in central London, 4,000 empty petrol stations all around the UK. So, and they're everywhere, they're all around the country, so it's like, seems an interesting space to try and find a way to reuse. It's got cinema in it, it's very pretty. And we had fun, so we decided to do it again. The Barbican approached us to do a project together. We said, well, we've actually found this space we really want to work in. And they said, well, Create Festival are offering an art award for something in East London. Your space is in East London, so why don't you write to them? Did, entered the competition, and we won. With a design similar-ish to this, but much more pared down, just a little black and white JPEG like that size. And then we developed this. The reason it's bricks is basically because Hackney Wick is built in red brick, basically. It seemed a lot more like locally engaged, a lot more responsive and genuinely temporary. We're actually going to be running for the same amount of time as the Olympics, but our projects can be taken apart at the end and reintegrated into like the local environment, whereas obviously Olympic Park just has to be reused in its current form. So it's kind of an experimentation with the difference between something temporary and something permanent, and how you think about space and how you think slightly like creatively to make, you know, respond to the actual conditions you're working with. For the bricks, it's more just like thinking about how to use the materials in the most intelligent way that has the best, means that they're the best resource in the long term. It's not just about, you know, so they're useful to us, but, you know, so that they don't run out of being useful. And all our components are really simple. The idea is that like anyone can learn how to make any of them. You just drop in and someone shows you what to do. Out of the people here, like, about 5 or 6 volunteers here now. At the weekends we have more like 30 or 40. But yeah, it's obviously everyone's at work at the moment. We're programming stuff from the local area, like groups, like people who like live and work around here, providing most of the program. The idea is basically that once it's up and running, it'll be like a test, and then kind of be a process of ongoing consultation. So that we'll try loads of different uses here, and then at the end we'll like have a discussion. Essentially, it's kind of like a long process of helping everyone decide what they want to do at the site in the long term. Because the Development Authority has some money put aside for potential redevelopment. So we're basically testing stuff, getting local people to come here and use it and occupy it and see what works and see what doesn't work.
How we came about bunker space. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think I came across it first.
Came across the space.
Yeah, and basically we'd done an event on the roof park, and the people that own the roof park said, oh, you know, if you're looking for other event spaces, we've got another one. And they showed me then this underground bunker space, which was incredible because it had this photographic exhibition going on at the time, and it was just so atmospheric, and it had like really just simple lighting, and even with the simple lighting, it just, you know, there was so much kind of presence, and the bunker had such personality that it was like, okay, we definitely want to do something here. And I think just in terms of space, because we've done stuff in spaces previously that are actually quite restricted, and that actually feel quite like white boxes, like, you know, like a media centre and things like that, and that's fine, and we can always, you know, with Joe's amazing set design skills, it will always be transformed into whatever we want it to be, but the fact that in this particular example the bunker was like wet and damp, already dark and eerie, and had all of the atmosphere that we were hoping to achieve, was just like
Already
blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I After Olivia sort of told me about it, said you have to see this space, I've seen this incredible venue that we have to do something in. At the time we didn't know what we were going to do in it. I think then she took me down to see it, but I think also it was interesting that we wanted to do something there was obviously everything Olivia just said, but because we're quite a small little company and obviously don't have a lot of budget and things like that, the greater the space, the more magnitude the space has already kind of helps us a lot in knowing that it's going to look really visually fantastic whilst we're sort of trying to get stronger as in the things that we're doing.
And also, I think a lot of the stuff that we do is about creating another world and transporting people into this space where they're there for a set amount of time and have no idea what else is going on. And that was really, really special for the Bunker PLC project, because for an hour people were, hopefully, but as the feedback we've got is that people were genuinely immersed, because there were no windows to look out into the real world and kind of realise that you were in Dalston, or that it was 2011. We literally set this in the future. We had a little bit of funding to do something surrounding climate change, and I guess it's not an area that we have loads of experience about previously. We do now, following all the research.
It's been very educational.
Yeah, it has for us, and hopefully for all the audience that came along. But the idea was, how do we do something that's just not really kind of, I guess, how it's traditionally been done.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of, again, the space sort of fed into that sort of story in a sense, and all of the backstory, because, we use the fact that there was no natural light down there, and that became part of the story that actually in the world we've created in 2031, you can't look directly at the sunlight anyway, so that's why we're all underground. The fact that it was really wet and damp as well fed into this department of all departments at Bunker PLC to do vertical farming and weather modification. So actually, even though we already had some of these ideas and we wanted to have a real sort of sci-fi feel anyway, it just developed more and more the more time that
really
spent
amazing
there.
the way that kind of thing happens. Just the whole element of it being a disused space, a disused, Cold War, bunker, or a World War II bunker. Either, we're not really sure which one it was, but then that tied into utilising empty city spaces, which is tying into sustainability. And one of the motivations behind 3D was this thing that of not being able to find work and sitting around waiting for it. It can be really tough and it can be really frustrating, but the rewards are much higher. And so I think from the first time we worked together in 2008, we decided to try and formalise it a bit more, and have a name and try and get out there. And we've worked with a lot of the same kind of artists across different projects, because we know what we're looking for, we know what we want. So it makes sense to do that. And I think with Screen Deep in the future, I don't know, we just need to see. We've talked about exploring all these other areas, more climate stuff, and I think we just see where it goes for now. We could have done all these other things, and Olivia's obviously been doing other work as a producer, events organiser and things like that, but I personally have got most of my experience from just doing my Screen Deep work.
All creative practice relates to spatial resources, but the hows and whats are highly subjective to their nature. Film screening is one of the most location-specific forms of exhibition. Cinema originated with the need of very particular physical premises. Therefore, filmmakers' relationships with creativity outlets are especially worth examining.
My name is Andrzej Sosnowski, and I've been working in cinemas, different kind of cinemas, for the last almost 4 years, I think. And I've been making my own films on a regular basis for the last 3.5 years. And I make I work in a cinema, and in my free time I make films, videos, shorts, and planning feature films with my friends at projecttrident.com. And I'm making